Welcome to the latest episode of AllPundits. Today, we are excited to have Dr. Siva Teja Kakileti, an alumnus of IIT Guwahati, Director and Principal Research Scientist and Lead Machine Learning Expert at Niramai Health Analytix. With 7 years of experience in AI/ML for medical imaging, Dr. Siva Teja has made significant contributions in the field and is a key contributor for products that are CE and FDA approved. He has co-authored 25 plus international publications, 2 book chapters, and has been granted 23 international patents. His fabulous achievements have led to his recent recognition as one of the Forbes 30 under 30. So join us as we dive into Dr. Siva Teja's journey, his innovative work, and its impact in the field of medical imaging.
Hi, Pia. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for inviting me, Arpan. Yeah.
Thanks for agreeing to do this. It's a pleasure having you here. Let's start off with some briefing about your time at IIT Guwahati, since we are covering IIT Guwahati alumni in season 1. So would love to know your time, what were the learnings, and how your time went by in IIT Guwahati.
I joined IIT Guwahati for a bachelor's in 2011. So first year I have taken triple E, and after first year I did this brand change and moved to ECE. And along with ECE, I also have taken CSC as my minor degree.
Got it.
Yeah. So I completed in 2015 in IIT Guwahati. And so mainly in IIT, I mainly worked in the AI/ML space as well as the IoT also. But my core interest remained in healthcare problems. So that's where when I moved to my first job, I tried to work in the healthcare area.
You were budding researcher there, if I am not wrong, at your first job. Yeah. Did you get the placement through IIT Guwahati itself, or did you apply it offline?
No, it is through placements itself. So Xerox used to take 2 profiles, I think, one budding scientist from bachelor's students and one research associate from master's from each IITs, and they selected me as a budding scientist through the placements.
Got it. And that is where your main, interest of, medical imaging or something of that sort came into picture, or where was it from college days?
Yeah, actually it was during my second year internship. So I did my internship in IIT Hyderabad with Professor Sumohana Channappai. So that's where actually it's in the second year internship. I'm not so familiar with any kind of medical imaging. So when I went there, he was the first one to give me this problem of identifying age macular degeneration from 2D OCT images. So the problem was interesting. And what inspired me there was as soon as I worked on the project, I got immediate feedback from doctors. And doctors have immediately used that solution, and I have seen how it has impacted their work. So they were saying that, typically it takes me this much time in order to measure the volume of these choroidal vessels. But with this technique, it eases me, and it also helps me in diagnosing the patients faster. So those kind of feedback, obviously, when you hear from doctors, right, it will always encourage you. So that's the trigger point for me when I did the internship. So later, as per the course curriculum at IIT Guwahati, I did these processing courses and medical imaging specific projects with the professors. And along with that, I worked in the IoT aspects also.
Nice. Yeah, I completely agree with you here, because even in startups or the work that I am doing, whenever I see an impact, or the clients who are, or the users getting benefit from whatever I have created, it gives an immense pleasure and automatically generates interest.
Yeah, basically it gives you the work satisfaction. So at least you're seeing the real use of your solution, and getting that good feedback from them always motivates you and encourages you to do further.
Correct. Quite uncommon in research, by the way, because it takes longer time to get an impact in research field, what I have seen. Right. And you've got it at a very short time. Obviously, it must have boosted your morale and everything.
Yeah, actually, in that way, I would say I was fortunate, because those projects I was dealing, when I selected for it, the professor was directly working with the doctors. It's not like an open source problem which we are working. It was like direct engagement with the Eye Institute, and they were like, they want the solution to be ready. So that's where it has helped me to get immediate feedback.
Could you also brief us what does Nirmai does, where you're working in your capacity? What exactly it does? What is the purpose of that company, etc., etc.?
Yeah. So Niramai, the word wise, it's a Sanskrit word. You might have heard this Sarve Santu Niramaya. So
Correct.
basically mean let everyone be healthy. So that's where the origin of Niramai came. And it also has this abbreviation of non-invasive risk assessment with machine artificial intelligence. So that's how we named Niramai. So the main motto of Niramai is to develop non-invasive solutions using artificial intelligence, specifically for developing countries, and also like diagnosing diseases without any kind of radiation or without any kind of invasiveness. So that's the main motto of Niramai. So the first product which we're working is breast cancer, because breast cancer is one of the leading causes of cancer deaths among women. If you
Correct.
see in India, 1 in 2 men who are diagnosed with breast cancer are losing lives, right? So it is that scary. And if you see the reasons, it is just that the current modality, right, mammography, even as per WHO, it is not feasible for implementing in countries like India, because it requires huge cost, and also it requires huge expertise in both interpreting and as well as capturing the images. So
Got it.
typically clinical breast examination, which is like hand examination, is being recommended, and that detects once the tumor is grown more than 2 centimeters. So by then the survival rate decreases to 50%. So that is why in India we have that low survival rate. And, we thought this is a good problem, and also that this. So my Niramai founder, Dr. Gita Manjunath, has lost 2 of her cousins to this disease. So that
My
has
God.
led her, to start something which could help Indian women to detect the cancers in their early stages. So then we
Correct.
started working on this project of like how we can make a solution which is tuned towards Indian women. So because not all solutions will fit to I mean, you can't have a single solution that fit all the markets, right? So mammography, though it is advisable outside, but it is not fitting to Indian market because of its cost. And also in India, the other hurdle is embarrassment to undress. Women are not comfortable to go to hospital and undress in front of a technician. And most often it could be a male technician, right? So that is a privacy aspect, which is a major issue. And that we can't rule out for mammography. So then when we look at this thermal imaging, we can make this fairly privacy aware. So you have thermal cameras, right, in airports.
Yes.
They just capture the temperature emitted from a body and without touching you. So what we can do is we can control this camera from outside, and the women can enter inside the cabin, and we capture their temperature readings from outside. So that way it is completely non-invasive, non-contact, and privacy aware. So that's what we worked on, and then we came out as a startup and started our journey.
Got it. Interesting to because I was also going through your profile. You did a PhD from Maastricht University, right? And even your thesis was in similar domain, use of ML in breast cancer diagnosis, especially in developing countries. So did it happen in parallel, or was there some time difference between this, your PhD and Niramai?
It happened in parallel. So Maastricht has this program of encouraging employees who are working in healthcare field. If they want any kind of PhD, they can do it remotely. Nice. So it's the Indo-Maastricht program they call, and I met my founder Gita Manjunath met the dean of this program, and they have suggested that if anyone is interested in Niramai, we can apply, and I applied through that program, and I got selected, and I completed my PhD in that.
Great. Interesting to know this aspect. I never knew, even after searching for a lot of things about you on internet. I still didn't know that this happened like this, and there is a program of that sort. What exactly your vision is especially on the AI and ML part for, medical imaging. What do you see, doing yourself, let's say 5-6 years or 3-4 years down the lane through
Right.
Niramai?
Yeah, through Niramai, I think what our final goal is that a person walks into a cabin and we do the full body imaging, not just breast imaging. So we do a full body imaging and then we identify any kind of abnormality the person has. So that's the motivation we have. Like, it's completely full body checkup, right? In an non-invasive fashion. So that's our motto, which we're trying to work for the next 6 years.
One thing I wanted to know, I was reading about it that your Niramai's products are, CE certified, FDA approved, right? How difficult is it to get these approvals? What are the challenges? Someone wants to plan something of their own. Could you, point out some of the challenges or things that you faced while getting these approvals from authorities? I believe these are challenging. That's why.
These are definitely challenging and time consuming. I think one of the main challenge as a startup you would see is having a proper documentation. Because as a startup, you want to have quick sprint cycles and you want to quickly release things, right?
Correct.
But whereas the regulatory approvals, they are, completely different. Everything what you do has to be justified properly. Everything what you do, you have to properly document it. And you have to do a proper risk assessment, whether it can cause any kind of significant risk to the user.
Got it.
That is a main hurdle for when we started applying for regulatory clearance, because at that point we had very minimal documentation because we, as a startup, we don't maintain.
Correct. Like any other startup. Yeah.
Right. So it took us like I think close to 6 months to 1 year to create to identify what procedures we need to have and appropriately create the documents and then appropriately submit it to the regulatory bodies. I think documentation is the main hurdle what we faced, and they do have some requirements as coming as a medical startup, right? You need to show that your product is clinically effective. So you need to have proper clinical studies in place. You need to obtain clinical results. Those also are important.
Got it. Especially when these are all, some of them are life-threatening diseases, as you mentioned. So having proper documentation, clinical tests done, other things done, I think these are required and essential as well. And that is why the difficulty, right?
That is true. Yeah.
Correct. So one more thing, everyone wants to know about is you as a BTech, since I've also been from the same college, no one normally thinks about having patents, right? You have 23 international patents. That's huge. Like what motivates you, or what motivated you from, at start during BTech life, you started, working towards it? What is the thought process behind it, and why do you think these are important as per your perspective?
Right. I think you have made an absolute point because though in our BTech, so we have some brief idea of patenting, but I think we don't have such a curriculum to encourage. I think there are some kind of patent initiatives some of the faculties have taken. But I think it was during our time, at least, it was not that quite effective, I think. So even when I graduated, frankly speaking, I know what a patent is, but I don't know how to file, what to file, and those kind of, I don't have any clue. But then when I joined Xerox Research Center, they have this proper culture of patenting, and they encourage you as well. Like we used to have a proper team who helps you in patenting your ideas. Like you can submit your idea, and then they will rate they will rate your idea. And accordingly, they will suggest whether to file for a patent or whether to keep it as a trademark. And we have like a good team which basically encourages, from your team, you at least need to file, because you're doing this project, at least you need to file 2-3 patents. So that was the trigger point for me to understand what the patents are. But then when I came outside Xerox, then I realized the importance of patents. So because as a startup, working in AI field, right? The immediate question you get is what stops someone to implement the same thing?
Got it.
So patent is So patent helps you in not only stopping from someone, but it also protects you. Because what if somebody have filed a patent on a similar idea? So it's a risk for you, right? So it basically stops someone to sue you, as well as it also helps you to basically gives the freedom to operate, right?
Correct.
So that I realized once we came out the startup, started the startup, whatever patents we filed, that became major asset for us. Because then we can completely say, no, we have these many granted patents, and even if somebody wants to do the same thing in this field, we are protected.
Got it. So normally, as whenever someone thinks of opening up a startup, they never think of these things of patenting or something of that sort.
Yeah.
But when you pointed out it in such a nice manner, I also got the gist that why patents are required. Apart from that, does this also help, like, let's say someone like you who has done a few projects in Xerox wherein he got them patented, does it also help in higher studies and other things, PhDs? I'm assuming it should.
Yes, patents for higher studies, I think it depends on the publications mostly. Patents do help, but more than patents, I would say publications. But again, if you want to publish as a researcher, right, you want to publish, right? But then if you publish, you can't patent it. So you need to maintain that, like, before publishing itself, you have to file for a patent and then go for a publication.
Got it. So, and what exactly, like you mentioned in the Xerox times, that there were few, after you saw people patenting, like, how do you would say that it impacted your career? How did it impact your career specifically? If I talk about, you gave us a general gist, but would love to know your thought process on it.
On the patent process?
Yeah. Did it impact your career graph or something of that sort? Like, do you think without these patents, you'd be doing the same thing? Or did this particular part help you?
So if you're talking about my personal career, I would say, more than patents, publication has helped me. Because if you're talking about my PhD, I think most of it is because of my publications, what I had. But patents helped the startup a lot. Because, as a medical startup, it takes a lot of time. It is not like one night effort, right? When you start a medical startup, you need to validate that your solution works, which itself takes, by the way, like 2 to 3 years, even today, simple clinical trial, right? And you want to show a valuation to your investors, right? I think the only way you could show is not only the accuracy metrics, but also that you have these patents. So I think that way patents has helped Niramai a lot, because I think to whomever investors, we say that they are very, they're very much appreciative of what the patents we have. And other thing is that the patents can also increase your valuation. So there is separate valuation strategies which IP attorneys do, to improve your startup valuation also. So that way also the patents what we filed, right, has helped us in generating and creating the valuation for our startup. But yes, but personally, yes, it's always good to have patent grants and
in your name,
in your name, and also you will definitely get an appreciation. But if you're talking about for PhDs, those kind of research career, it might or might not. It depends.
Got it. So, especially one part that you pointed out about the valuation part where it helps. Even I was not aware of it. I personally think that I'm very much involved in the startup world and valuations and other part, but you gave me a new perspective today. I'm sure people listening to this would also get to know this view, that why patents and how patents can help startup as well, if not personal. And one thing, what I know, I might be wrong here, but these are filing patents or publications or something of that sort are very time consuming and sometimes very, requires huge amount of cash or investment as well. So what are the few strategies that you would like to, which would have helped you to get these things done time efficiently and, at less cost, let's say?
Right. So coming to the time, right? Filing a patent is not only the drafting process is time consuming, but getting a patent itself is time consuming. If you're filing in India, it might take you like 5 to 6 years to get a patent grant. And the same with Europe, it might take 6 to 7 years to get a grant. So, however, there are some expedition programs. So, if you're a startup, there is this Indian government has introduced this expedition program. So, where you can expedite your patent. So, if you go through that process, you can get your patent as quickly as 6 months.
My God.
So from 6 years, so you can get directly 6 months. And Indian patent is very much encouraging, like, for the startups, not only individuals, but all the any kind of companies, right, to file patents. And this is one of the initiative where they're saying that if you're a startup, you can apply for this patent expedition program and you can get the patent quickly. And they also provide a list of facilitators who can draft the patent for you. Because patent drafting is not a trivial process. It is very much different from a research paper.
Got it.
Right. So you need separate skills to write this patent. So typically what you can do or what the Intellectual Property of India recommends is that they have a list of facilitators. Right? You share them what your technology, whatever idea is, they can draft it for you. And they will file it on your behalf. And they will basically engage in all the office actions, those kind of activities, and they will help you with the grant process. And the cost is also, I think, very much reasonable. And further on that, right, on the cost aspect, many state governments are supporting the patent filings. So, for example, Karnataka Startup Hub, where our company is incorporated, they reimburse up to 2 lakhs for Indian patent. And Indian patent, if you're a startup, it costs less than 2 lakhs. So basically, you can get your entire patent filing cost from the state or even the national intellectual property also have this scheme.
Got it. It's almost free, as you mentioned.
It's almost
2 lakh.
Yeah, if you're filing in India. But and further, they also give for foreign filing. They give up to 10 lakhs.
Oh.
Right, because typical foreign filing is very costly. Like if you're filing in US, it might cost you 5 to 10 lakhs. So they reimburse up to 10 lakhs. So that way,
these are the schemes that you are mentioning. I think government is also trying to help startups, file patents. That is what I could understand from what you are saying.
Right. So most of these are the schemes which are provided by government. To reimburse or to encourage patents from India to grow further.
Got it. Essentially, since given the governments are helping so much, it's almost costing nothing. Even if it is, then it will get reimbursed. Is what you are trying to make a point. I think most of the startup who can, not every startup technology can be patented. That I can understand. But if someone can, I think should patent it is what your recommendation would be from the conversation we have had.
Yes, definitely. Because as we briefly discussed, right, it's not only that it basically gives you freedom to operate. It basically gives an edge when compared to your competitors, right? When you have a patent in a particular area, so that means you're protecting that idea so that no one can implement a similar thing.
First of all, congratulations, being recognized in Forbes 30 under 30. Really happy when the news came out. Wanted to, know how has this recognition affected your career?
Yes, I think first I should thank Forbes for recognizing my work in Niramai. So yes, I think after the Forbes article, not only for me, for the startup also, right, there is increased visibility. Like we used to get contacts from doctors asking for, could you tell me more about this technology, or could you tell more about, how should I install this in my hospital? Or also we got, personally got appreciations from different government officials asking for, is there a way we can partner and implement this in a particular locality.
Got it.
So that's why I think it has very much helped us over the last few months.
Correct. I think you've also made the whole institution of IIT Guwahati proud. I think that also has, in a way, also increased the visibility of our college as well in the globe. And I think that is also very essential that we take this point out here as well. Okay. So, like for in Forbes 30 under 30, the list that celebrates young innovators, right? Who are making impact in various fields like you are. And what are the few innovation do you think, or did they consider for, putting your nomination or putting in your name? Would love to know what were the specific ones.
I think the first one is definitely the breast cancer project. So while working on this, I have like close to 23 patent grants across the globe. And I think close to 10 to 15 applications which are pending again across the globe. And on this area, I have like close to 25 plus publications. So I think that is my significant work in the breast cancer. But apart from it, during COVID, I worked on this X-ray Setu project. So during COVID, it used to take 3 to 4 days to get RT-PCR reports, and
Correct.
That's a critical time for the patient, right? Where once you are infected, the first 6 days are critical days.
Correct.
Anything might happen in those days, and if it takes 3 to 4 days for getting an RT-PCR, it would be a difficult thing, and especially if you are in rural locations, the treatment facilities, right? Those are major issues. So there are radiological societies who have been working on how we can use X-ray images to classify whether the patient has COVID or not. So that became a complete research area during that time. But and unfortunately for India, we have this tuberculosis mission, TB mission. So due to which we have X-ray machines in almost all the rural localities.
Correct.
So we can, if any patient can go and perform an X-ray. But the challenge is the radiologists or the doctors at these rural locations might not know how to interpret them for COVID or not. So that was
correct.
We thought of, and we thought, can we come up with a simple AI solution which could basically detect whether the patient is having COVID or not. So the challenges which we faced during that time is that, if you're talking about rural doctors, you might have to work on how do you train them, right? You can't go train each and every doctor. So then we thought WhatsApp as a medium, because not everyone knows how to send a WhatsApp image, right? Even the rural doctors, everyone knows. So what we thought, what if we have a service through WhatsApp, right? Doctor can simply capture the X-ray image and then upload it into our WhatsApp number, and we will give an instant report. So that was the challenge. That was the thought process we went. But there are challenges because WhatsApp compresses the image.
Correct.
Sometimes up to 90%. So we have this ML problem of how we can give good results even through this WhatsApp compressed images. So we worked on it, and we partnered with the IISc specifically to develop this solution. And also with Art Park, which is again should born from IISc. So we released this as a service, and we have seen a huge response from the doctors. I think more than 3,000 doctors have used this service to get their reports.
My God.
Yeah, so that's huge. Yeah, so that was one of the, I think, quick projects which we have worked on and then quickly released to the market, because this we're talking about the second COVID second wave. So we have like a very short time to develop these models and then quickly release them.
What was the time frame, if I may ask, like time frame in which it was thought and then released?
So we have released this as an offline version in the COVID first wave, but then we didn't thought about completely automating it. But then during second wave, that we know that the second wave will hit during June 2021.
Correct.
Right. That point of time, when we know, Art Park came to us and then say, can we do something here in, I think, May first week. So we literally had a solution. And I think within 25 days with IISc,
wow.
Professor Chinnabji Bhattacharya, Dr. Gita Manjunath, everyone, we all came and then worked on a product. We had to build entire software because there is no software at that point of time. So
Correct.
within, I think close to 3 weeks, we had the first working prototype. We had to create a chatbot, all those things within 3 weeks.
Wow. That's super quick for, something in this discipline, especially.
Right.
Making it so quick and effective. I think it's like commendable, and it feels so proud that, our college alumni are doing so many things at various different places. After talking to you today, especially, I am especially happy about the fact that you are picking up so noble problems, which needs to be solved ASAP, rather than, just let's say XYZ. Numerous startups are there which are solving some problems which might be essential, but you're picking so novel problems, let's say breast cancer, COVID problems that you mentioned, COVID detection problems. I think ideas that you are thinking is really inspiring, and for everyone, and I hope people who are watching this video would get inspired on thinking out of the box and solving few of such problems which are perennial to Indian society especially. Thank you for joining us in this podcast. We were so lucky to host you, and hopefully we'd be hearing more about Niramai and you over the period of time through various news articles, various different things that can occur. So thank you again.